and welcome to my journey of cannabis infused cocktails. So today's 4/20, 2020, and I know this is not how any of us were expecting to be spending our 4/20. Very strange times, we're all in lockdown and quarantine. I do hope you did have the opportunity to make it to your local dispensary, a liquor store, get something to get you through this trying time. Me, I'm gonna have to take a shot because this is my first YouTube video, and not only is the time stressful, but making YouTube videos is kind of stressful. Never thought it would be. So, first thing, cheers. A little bullet bourbon, always good. Warms your tummy also. So today, the cocktail we're going to be making a bee's knees. Bee's knees is a Prohibition era cocktail. It comes from the 1920s era. It was a slang term for the best. So, like this Gorilla Glue right here, this is the bee's knees. So the cocktail is a very easy cocktail to make. It's just 3 ingredients: gin, fresh squeezed lemon juice, and honey. In this case, we're going to be using funny honey. So on top of all this, we're going to do a nice little garnish. We're going to do a bit of honey. So it's going to be a bit of funny honey garnish on top of the cocktail. So to put it all together, we're going to first need to make some funny honey. So let's make funny honey. Okay, so now we're going to make some funny honey. So one of the most important things, in my opinion, that you can do is deep carboxylate your cannabis before you use it for any type of tincture or any type of edible, whatever you want to use it for. What deep carboxylation does is it activates your THC and your CBD, and it makes it so it absorbs into whatever you're using. It makes it work much more efficiently, you get more out of it. So the steps of decarboxylation is basically you just want to bake it. So what we're going to do, we want to bake it at a low temperature. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure out the amount. We're going to take about 3.5 grams of cannabis to about 1 cup of honey. And we're going to decarboxylate, and then we'll put them together. We'll go to that step. But as far as decarboxylation goes, I'm going to have to grind down this cannabis that I have measured out. I'm going to put it in an oven-safe dish and then put it in the oven at 200 degrees Fahrenheit for about an hour. So I have my little mini grinder, so I'll save you the pain of watching me grind this weed. I can't find my regular grinder for the life of me. And we'll move on and stick it in the oven. Grinding this makes me really realize why they call this the Gorilla Glue. This truly is the sticky icky icky. What a beautiful thing. Now we have our cannabis all ground up. We're going to spread it evenly across the bottom of a baking safe dish. And we're going to preheat our oven to 250 degrees. We're going to put it in there for about 1 hour. Depending on how much you're using, there's a lot of different philosophies behind it. Sometimes if you're using a lot, some people say do like an ounce for maybe even 2.5 hours at 210 degrees. The one thing is you don't want to do it too hot because you don't want to cook your marijuana. You just want to get everything activated in it. So I put it in a dish like this, and what I'll do is I'll cover it with some aluminum foil. So the aluminum foil is just going to keep all the gases in. The one thing you do have to remember is this is going to make your whole house smell like weed. It's going to make your apartments, if you live in a townhouse, everybody's going to smell it. Everybody's going to know exactly what you're doing. So make sure you're well aware of the laws in your area, and make sure you don't offend your neighbors. You always want to have good neighbors. All right, so let's go stick this in the oven for about an hour. The oven is preheated. One thing that I also really like to use, I like to use this for everything I do, even cooking a steak. This is a little thermometer, because ovens aren't 100%. It has a basic range that it's trying to get to. I just throw that in the oven, and it keeps it in range. I set this at maybe a little over 250, so I know if it goes over, it starts to beep. Also, maybe about every 20 minutes you go and just kind of mix the weed up, just so it's kind of moving around. So let's just throw this in the oven and we'll come back. Let's take this out of the oven. Should be all decarbed. And it definitely smells very strong. All right, so now our cannabis is all decarboxylated. The THC and the CBD has all been activated. So now what we're going to do is we're going to proceed to make the funny honey, and we're going to add the decarboxylated cannabis. That is a tongue twister to say. Just going to put all that in there, and then we're going to add 1 ounce of, I'm using a local honey. It's a nice desert local honey. I just support our local producers. So now we're going to add the 1 ounce of honey. All right, get all the honey in there. And what you're gonna wanna use is a double boiler. If you have one at home, it's even better. I make my own, it's pretty easy to do. Just fill a pan, hot water, and you wanna mix this all up. You want it just so the bowl just floats on top. So it's barely touching the edges. That way you don't burn the honey, you don't burn the THC. You just let it sit there. We're gonna bring it to a boil, then we're gonna let it simmer for about 40 minutes. The water's at a boil, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put in the honey cannabis mixture. We'll put it with 2 hands, make sure no water gets in there. And just let it float there. Once it heats up, everything's stuck to the sides. It'll just kind of drip down. Just make sure you mix it around a little bit. All right, so this has been cooking for about 1 hour now. So let's take it off and go strain it. One thing that I like to do, it's gonna dilute it a little bit, but it makes it a little less viscous. Makes it so you can strain it out much better. We got we have 1 cup of honey, so I have a 1/4 cup of water. Just a 1/4 of whatever you have. What I'm gonna do is, it basically makes a syrup out of it. It makes more of a simple syrup. It makes it a little nicer to use for the cocktail. Now we're gonna run this in. Strain it. I'm using cheesecloth. Cheesecloth works really well. It's pretty porous and you can adjust it to be as porous as you like. And just let it drip through. All right, let's let that strain out and then we'll have ourselves some funny honey. All of the honey that will drip out of there seems to have dripped out. Doesn't seem to be dripping anymore, so let's take off the cheesecloth. Good juice coming out right there. Okay, now we're gonna make some bit of funny honey. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put about a little more than a 1/2 cup of just the honey itself. We did dilute it down with some water, so we're gonna reduce it down, bring back some of the viscosity of the honey. Then we're going to add 1/2 cup of peanut butter, 1 ounce of almond paste. We're gonna put these all together. We're gonna bring them up to temperature of the cracking point of sugar, and then we're gonna cool it back down, and we're gonna add some powdered milk. Something I just learned is powdered milk is in a lot of the chewy candies. I never would have thought powdered milk, but powdered milk. All right, so let's go to the stove and make some bit old funny honey. All right, so we're going to reduce the honey down. The one thing you want to watch is you want to watch the temperature. You don't want to let it go over 270 degrees. I don't have a candy thermometer, so I don't have a clip. But you want to just put it in there every now and again and just see where it's at. You just want to make sure it doesn't go over 270. All right, so now we added the almond paste and the peanut butter and mix these all up real nice. Bring this all up to 270 degrees and then we'll take it off the burner and let it cool and we'll add the powdered milk. All right, so it's cooled. It's down to about 180 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll pour the thermometer out and add 1/2 of the powdered milk. And we'll just stir this in, get it all mixed up nice. I had to cheat a little. I had to go to the KitchenAid. I imagine this will do a much better job. All right, so I like the consistency it's coming out right here, but I'm gonna add just a little bit more powdered milk. I don't know if I'm gonna go to the full amount of on the recipe, but I'll add a little more just to see if I can get a little more firm. Here is somewhat of the finished product. I rolled it out off camera, saved you the agony of watching my rolling face. Nobody wants to see that. So I did end up having to use the KitchenAid just to mix it up. It ended up being very, very difficult to mix up. But here it is, some funny bit of honey. All right, so now it's time to make the cocktail. So remember, you're watching Sip Puff Pass. I'm your host, Mario Senna. And please like this video, subscribe to my channel. Even if you want to subscribe just to make fun of me, I'm okay with that. So let's move on to the cocktail, and we are making a bee's knees cocktail. So first, what I want to talk about is the gin we're going to use. It is Bar Hill Gin. Bar Hill Gin is a gin. It is lightly infused with honey and juniper berry. But even more than that, what they do, and it just goes with the cocktail, is bee's knees. They also put on bee's knees week And Bees Knees Week, they work with a lot of organizations, and these organizations, they put money and they do research into hive collapse disorder, which is something that's happening all over the world. Bees are disappearing, and this is a major, major problem, and it could end up being the collapse of our ecosystem. We don't know. So anyway, let's move on to better things. So when making a cocktail, one thing I learned a long time ago is you want to start with the cheapest ingredients first. So we will start with the lemon juice, because if you start with the most expensive and you mess up, now you just kind of ruined some nice expensive ingredients. Okay, so with this cocktail, we're going to do 1 ounce of lemon juice. Here's a conundrum with the cannabis cocktail. Which is more expensive? Which is more expensive? The cannabis honey or the Bar Hill gin? I don't know. So we'll just go with the natural progression of things. We'll use the cannabis honey. Let's do 1 ounce of the cannabis honey. Make sure it all gets out. Remember, it's nice and sticky in there, so you can have a little drip. And let's do 2 ounces of Bar Hill gin. All right, so when do you shake, when do you stir? One thing I learned, good rule of thumb, is if there's ever juice in a cocktail, you want to shake it. Just kind of opens it up a little, gets oxygen in there, makes it a little nicer, a little more palatable, softens the drink a little. So here's my tongs. We'll add some ice cubes. And give it a good shake. Whenever you shake, you want to smile so your face doesn't flop around. All right. There we are. And here is the good old funny honey I made. Some of the candies. I pre-made a garnish over here. Make it look like maybe a bee with wings or something like that. We'll see how it works out. Never been great with my garnishes. I gotta keep my fingers out of the drink. You shouldn't put your fingers in the drink. All right, there we go. Here is a bee's knees. Please remember, whenever you do any of these recipes, if you happen to do any of these recipes, to look into your local laws. And also with edibles, always be sure to watch your dosage. Just remember, whenever you're taking your edibles, you can't take less than what you already took. You can always take more, but you can't take less. So please drink responsibly, drink safe, and I'm your most toasted host, Mario Sena. Take care. Thank you.